The essence of Alaska lies somewhere between myth and reality. Today, we're going to discuss some of the most popular lies about Alaska. Many of these tall tales have lent themselves into myths that many people take for fact. Number 1. The mayor of Talkeetna was a cat. Everyone knows the famous Alaskan cat that goes by the name of Stubbs. He was known as the mayor of Talkeetna for nearly 20 years. There are hundreds of videos on YouTube talking about him. There are thousands of articles in Google written about him. Talkeetna even mentioned in the past how 30 to 40 tourists visit their town every day on their way to Denali just to meet the mayor. The problem is this. Talkeetna is unincorporated, so it has no mayor. It never did. The town itself explained a year after Stubbs died that this was an advertisement gimmick to bring in more tourists. It worked, and it's still working today. Tourists still stop by Talkeetna just to visit the town that had a cat as its mayor. Number 2. There are so few women in Alaska to date. There are all kinds of myths about how there's so many more men in Alaska than women. If you come to Alaska as a single guy, there are no girls to date. Some of these myths even go on to claim that there are 10 guys for every girl in Alaska. Reality is, for every 108 guys, there are 100 girls. Number 3. The cost of food and rent in Alaska is ridiculously high. There are several states where rent and food cost more than in Alaska. And if you live in a big city like Anchorage, rent and food prices can be almost the same as most U.S. states, depending on where you shop for groceries and where you live. Even in many of the remote areas that you can reach by car, grocery prices are not as high as so many people tell you they are. Of course, if you live on an island in Alaska or you live in an extremely remote community in Alaska that you can only reach by plane, prices for food will be higher than the rest of Alaska. But most people in Alaska don't live or move to those areas. Number 4. Alaskan wildlife is everywhere. I've talked about this in previous videos, and I'm sure I will talk about it in the future videos. I drove over 1,000 miles so far. My first trip was for 7 days when I drove from Fairbanks down to Whittier and across the interior and down again to Valdez. On my second trip, I drove from Valdez for 5 hours to Anchorage. I stopped in several national parks, drove through many small, remote, wooded communities, and in both trips, the only wildlife I saw were small birds. If that doesn't convince you that you're not going to see moose hurdling your car whenever you're driving to the grocery store, or bears peeking in your windows salivating as they watch you eat pizza, you're going to be disappointed if you come to Alaska expecting to see Wild Kingdom on every corner. Number 5. The Northern Lights are everywhere. I'm sure you've seen videos that say you will see the Northern Lights almost anywhere you are when you're in Alaska. The fact is, you can see the Northern Lights in most parts of Alaska as long as you are in an area that has a clear view of the Northern Lights. But there's a lot of tall trees in Alaska, and there's a lot of mountains that are taller than those tall trees in Alaska. When someone says Valdez, for example, or Nelchina is one of the best places to see the Northern Lights, they often forget to mention you seldom see them from where anyone lives in town. But if you drive 15 minutes or 20 minutes outside of the center and you drive up to the lake on the dirt road that is behind 40 potholes that most cars can't get past, you'll reach the spot where the mountains don't block out the view. And if you're lucky, you may see the Northern Lights on any given night. Alaska is a place that will never disappoint you, unless you believe what everyone tells you about it.